You ever sit there and wonder why the people you loved most suddenly vanished? Why the ones you thought would stay forever just walked away like you meant nothing? Yeah, I know that look. That hollow, quiet ache in your chest. You're replaying it over and over, trying to find the moment it all fell apart. You're asking yourself, what did I do wrong? But listen to me. It wasn't about what you did. It was about what God saw. You think they left because you weren't enough. You think if you just said more, done more, been more, maybe they'd still be here. But the truth is, God took them away because you couldn't see what he saw. He saw the conversations you never heard. He saw the intentions behind their smiles. He saw what would happen if they stayed. You see, you were praying for peace, weren't you? You were asking God to bless your life, to bring you joy, to help you grow. And sometimes the answer to that prayer comes in the form of removal, not addition, not more people, but less. It doesn't feel fair, I know. You wanted loyalty, and instead, you got loss. You wanted love, and you got silence. But that silence, that emptiness you feel, it's holy ground. It's the space God cleared so you could finally breathe again. You just don't realize it yet. You're sitting there crying over who left, but you don't see the hands that were never really holding you. You don't see how much weight God just lifted off your soul. You think you lost them, but really you lost the pain that came with them, the pretending, the anxiety, the overthinking. You just haven't learned to call it freedom yet. God didn't take them because he wanted you to suffer. He took them because he loves you too much to let you settle. They were draining you, little by little, and you were calling it love. You were mistaking their attention for care, their presence for peace. But God saw the truth. He saw that they weren't growing with you. They were holding you back, and he said, enough. I know it hurts. It feels like the rug got pulled from under you, like your heart's been ripped open. You keep asking why he'd take away the people who made you feel alive. But maybe it's because they were only teaching you how to die slower. Maybe he had to remove what was killing you quietly before it killed your purpose completely. They weren't meant to stay. You were trying to build a lifetime with people who were only supposed to be lessons, temporary chapters, and God. He saw that you were clinging to the pages long after their part was done, so he turned the page for you because you wouldn't. You call it rejection. He calls it redirection. You call it loss. He calls it protection. You think you were abandoned, but no. You were delivered from betrayal, from fake loyalty, from people who only loved what you could give them, delivered from the same cycles that broke you before, delivered from becoming someone you're not just to make others comfortable. You see, sometimes God has to hurt you to heal you. He has to strip away what's not real so you can see what is. He has to break your heart so your soul can wake up. That's what this is. A divine wake-up call, a reminder that you don't need validation from people who can't even love themselves. They left because they had to. You wouldn't have learned the lesson if they stayed. You would have kept giving and giving until there was nothing left of you. You think you needed them to feel whole, but God knew you'd never find yourself until you stood alone. And now, look at you, hurting, sure, but alive, still breathing, still standing. That's not weakness. That's proof that even after they left, you still have purpose. They weren't your foundation. They were your distraction. And God removed them so he could rebuild you on something real, something that doesn't shake when people walk away, something that doesn't crumble when others stop clapping. Because not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Not everyone who says, I love you, means it. God saw the masks you couldn't. He saw what they said about you when you weren't in the room. He saw the jealousy, the envy, the manipulation, the parts they hid behind charm and closeness. And he said, "Not my child, not anymore. You think losing them broke you, but what if I told you it made you? What if I told you this pain you're feeling right now is the soil God's using to grow you? Every tear is watering your next season. Every lonely night is shaping your strength. Every unanswered text, every door slammed in your face. That's God chiseling away what doesn't belong in your next chapter. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Prepared for people who won't just take, but pour back. Prepared for love that heals instead of drains. Prepared for peace that stays instead of runs. But you can't see that yet, can you? You're still too focused on what walked away. You're staring at the ashes, wishing for the fire again. But the fire burned you for a reason. You just haven't realized that God was saving you from the same flame you kept running into. I get it. It's hard. The nights are long, the silence is heavy, and every memory feels like a ghost you can't shake. But listen, ghosts can't touch you unless you invite them back in. Stop replaying the past like it's a movie you can change the ending to. They're gone for a reason. Let them be gone. Because here's the truth. If they were meant to stay, nothing could have made them leave. And if they were meant to leave, nothing could have made them stay. That's how divine order works. You can't beg God to bless your life and then get mad when He starts pruning it. You can't ask for peace and expect Him to leave your poison untouched. He's not cruel. He's careful. Careful with your heart. Careful with your destiny, careful enough to remove what you wouldn't. So stop chasing what He's already released. Stop calling back what He's already buried. You can't resurrect what God already removed. And trust me, if you could see what He saw, you'd be down on your knees thanking Him instead of crying. One day, you'll understand. You'll look back and see how that heartbreak saved you, how that goodbye cleared the path for your breakthrough, how that silence was the loudest "I love you" from heaven you ever got. God took them away because you were praying for something they couldn't give. He took them away because your destiny was too big for their smallness. He took them away because you were becoming someone they could no longer manipulate. He took them away because peace can't coexist with chaos. And He took them away because you finally deserve better. You don't see it yet, but you will. You'll wake up one day and realize you're lighter. The ache will fade. The memories will stop hurting. And you'll smile. Not because you forgot, but because you finally understand. Understand that every loss was really a lesson. Every ending was really a beginning. Every goodbye was really God whispering, "I have something better." So yeah, it hurts now. It feels unfair. It feels cruel. But one day soon, you'll see it clearly. You'll see that God took them away for a reason, and you'll thank Him for it, because that reason was you. So here you are, still breathing, still hurting, but something's shifting, isn't it? That ache in your chest. It's still there, yeah, but it doesn't feel like death anymore. It feels like awakening, like your soul's trying to stretch after being cramped for too long. That's how healing starts, not with fireworks, not with some magical peace washing over you. It starts with exhaustion, with the quiet realization that you're tired of carrying what broke you. That's when God steps in, not when you're strongest, but when you're too tired to pretend you still are. You keep saying, "Why did He take them?" But maybe the real question is, why did you keep them even when He kept showing you signs to let go? You saw it, didn't you? The distance, the disrespect, the way their words started to sound hollow, the way you felt small every time you tried to explain yourself. God whispered, "Walk away," but you didn't. You begged, you compromised, you called it love. And when you wouldn't move, he moved for you. That's the thing about God. He'll let you choose until your choice starts destroying you. Then he intervenes. He doesn't always come with thunder and lightning. Sometimes he comes with silence, with unanswered calls, with blocked paths and broken ties. That's him saying, enough. You thought you lost control of your life, but maybe you finally lost the illusion of control. And in that loss, you found what's real. You see, God doesn't just remove people. He reveals you through their absence. You start seeing who you were when they were around, the version of you that settled, that dimmed your own light so they wouldn't feel small. The version of you that begged for love that was supposed to be freely given. Now he's saying, meet the real you, the you that doesn't chase, the you that doesn't explain yourself just to be understood, the you that finally realizes being alone is not punishment, it's preparation. You're not broken, you're becoming. That emptiness you feel, it's not the end, it's the echo of everything leaving that was never meant to stay. You think God took something from you, but what if he's actually making room for something greater? That space, that hollow feeling inside, that's where he's about to pour something new, but he can't fill hands that are still gripping the past. Let go. Yeah, I know. It's easier said than done. You keep replaying what could have been, don't you? You keep seeing their face in your mind, hearing their voice in your sleep. You keep thinking, maybe if I just held on a little longer. But that's the trick the past plays. It paints itself prettier than it ever was. Don't fall for it. They didn't leave because you were unworthy. They left because the season was over. And when God ends a season, he doesn't negotiate. You wanted permanence in people who were only meant to be temporary. And you keep wondering why it keeps hurting every time they go. Because you're planting your roots in passing clouds, trying to build forever in places God marked for a while. Listen, sometimes the ones who walk away are not the villains. They're simply the catalyst. They're the reason you grew. They're the storm that broke you open so the light could finally get in. Don't curse them. Thank them. Because even their absence taught you something your comfort never could. You learned what real peace feels like when the noise is gone. You learned what loyalty looks like when there's no one left but you. You learned that you can still stand after the world around you falls apart. And that, my friend, is strength. Not the loud kind, not the kind that shouts or shows off. The quiet kind, the kind that just keeps showing up, even when it hurts. You ever notice how when God removes something, he doesn't replace it right away? That's because he's teaching you to be content in the gap. He's teaching you to depend on him, not on them. He's teaching you how to walk by faith, not by the familiar. See, everyone loves the part where God blesses you, but no one talks about the part where he breaks you first. He breaks your patterns. He breaks your comfort. He breaks the version of you that couldn't carry the next blessing because you can't receive new things with old hands. You keep saying you're waiting on God, but sometimes he's waiting on you to stop reopening doors he already closed, to stop chasing closure from people who never gave you peace to begin with, to stop praying for him to restore what he's already rescued you from. You can't heal in the same place you got hurt. You can't build with people who once broke you. And you can't find peace in the arms that took it from you. That's why he took them. to teach you how to love yourself the way you begged them to. Look around. It's quiet now, isn't it? No more fake love. No more chaos disguised as connection. No more walking on eggshells. You call it loneliness. God calls it clarity. This is where you find out who you really are without the noise. And once you do, that's when the right people start to show up. Not the ones who drain you, not the ones who take, but the ones who match your energy. The ones who pour into you like you've always poured into others. That's the promise, but you can't receive them while you're still waiting for the old ones to come back. Stop waiting for an apology that won't heal you. Stop waiting for closure that won't change what happened. You don't need them to understand why they left. You just need to understand why God made them go. And when you do, the pain starts to make sense. You see, peace isn't the absence of pain. It's the understanding that pain had a purpose. It was never random. It was never meaningless. It was training you to recognize what real love feels like, training you to value yourself, training you to walk away the next time someone shows you who they are. You're stronger now. You don't see it yet, but you will. Every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered question, it was all part of the refining, because gold doesn't shine until it's been through fire. And you've been through it. But look at you now, still standing, still glowing, still becoming. That's what God wanted, not perfection, transformation. He's not punishing you. He's preparing you. He's not taking things to hurt you. He's taking things so he can hand you better ones. But to receive better, you have to believe you deserve better. You spent so long begging people to see your worth, when all along, God was waiting for you to see it first. You kept giving discounts to people who couldn't afford your value. And when he saw you settling, he said, "Enough. My child deserves more." That's love, the kind that protects, even when it hurts. You're sitting there again, staring at the ceiling like it's got the answers, wondering how everything slipped through your fingers. The plans, the promises, the people, gone. You thought you were building something solid, didn't you? Something real. But life has this way of knocking the wind out of you just when you start to breathe easy. Yeah, it hurts. Being overlooked, misunderstood, written off like you were just another chapter in someone else's story. But let me tell you something. This is the part they never warn you about. The part where your voice goes quiet and all you've got left are your thoughts and your pain. And that's where you build. That's where you become. See, anyone can talk about strength, about success, about rising from the ashes, but talk is cheap. And the world's already drowning in noise. They don't need to hear you. They need to see you. They need to see the version of you that refuses to die quietly. The one who doesn't post about pain but transforms it. The one who doesn't announce the comeback but embodies it. You want to shock them. Don't waste breath proving who you are. Become the proof. Become the reason their whispers turn to silence. Become the kind of person whose presence says everything words never could. Because here's the truth. You don't owe them your explanations. You don't owe them your side of the story. You owe yourself your evolution. The world will always have opinions, some whispered, some shouted, all meaningless. They'll tell you you've changed like it's a bad thing. Good. You were never meant to stay the same. Every scar, every sleepless night, every betrayal, that's the tuition you paid for wisdom. They laughed when you fell. Let them. They mocked your silence. Let them. You're not here to clap back. You're here to come back. They think silence is weakness, but silence is strategy, because while they're busy running their mouths, you're rebuilding your empire one piece at a time. While they gossip, you're grinding, While they doubt, you're developing. And when it's time to reveal what you've become, there won't be a word left for them to say. Most people break under pressure. They fold. You turn pressure into power, because diamonds aren't born from comfort. They're born from being crushed. So when life presses you, don't panic. That's your transformation. That's your rebirth. You've got fire in your bones and storms in your soul. And they tried to drown you because they feared the flood you'd become. But here you are, still breathing, still building, still burning. They'll never understand what it costs to carry yourself through chaos. They weren't there in the silence when you questioned everything, your worth, your purpose, your reason for even trying. But you kept moving anyway. You kept going when you had nothing left but will. And that's what makes you dangerous. You've seen the bottom. You've tasted defeat. You've cried in secret and smiled in public just to survive another day. And now you're about to show them what survival looks like. Shock them not with your words, but with the person you're becoming behind closed doors. The one who's healing, hustling, evolving in silence. Shock them with the discipline they never believed you had. Shock them with the patience to rebuild without an audience. Shock them with the glow-up that isn't about revenge, but redemption. Because revenge fades. It burns quick and dies faster. But self-mastery, that's eternal. And the moment you realize you never needed to prove them wrong, you've already won. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Forgive to free yourself from the weight of their shadow. Don't drag hate into your future. It's too heavy for the climb ahead. You're not ascending to spite them. You're ascending to find you. Let them talk. Let them twist your story into whatever helps them sleep at night. Truth doesn't need defense. It just needs time, and time will reveal everything. Remember how they said you were done? Remember how they acted like you'd never rise again? Good. Let that memory fuel you. Let it be the fire that pushes you through the nights when you want to quit. Because one day soon, they'll see, they'll scroll, they'll stumble, they'll hear your name, and realize you became everything they said you couldn't. But don't do it for them. Don't rise to prove a point. Rise because you deserve to see what happens when you don't quit. Rise for the version of you that stayed up crying, for the one who thought it was over, but still showed up the next day. Rise because you're not done yet. You've got battles to win, not out there, but in here. The fight isn't against them anymore. It's against the doubt that tells you you're not enough. It's against the fear that whispers you can't change. It's against the part of you that still believes their lies. And you're going to win, not because it's easy, but because you've already survived worse. The world doesn't owe you recognition, and that's okay. You'll make them watch anyway, not through bragging, but through becoming. Your silence will speak. Your growth will echo. Your success will scream louder than any comeback ever could. So stop waiting for them to understand. Stop hoping for closure from people who broke you. You don't need their permission to become unstoppable. You don't need their apology to move forward. You just need to start. Every morning you wake up and choose not to quit. You're already winning. Every time you choose peace over pettiness, you're evolving. Every time you choose to build instead of beg, you're becoming the kind of person they can't reach anymore. Don't waste time explaining yourself. Your results will explain everything. Let your growth be the clapback. Let your peace be the payback. Let your existence be the shock. They expected you to stay broken. Don't. They expected you to fade. Don't. They expected silence to mean surrender. Prove them wrong without saying a word. And when you finally rise, when the dust settles and the noise dies down, stand tall. Not to show them what they lost, but to remind yourself what you found. You found strength in struggle. You found clarity in chaos. You found purpose in pain. And that's what makes you unshakable. Shock them with your peace. Shock them with your focus. Shock them with your evolution. Because nothing terrifies small minds more than someone who refuses to stay small. And when they see you again, when they hear your name in rooms they'll never enter, don't gloat. Just smile, because you didn't just survive, you became. You became the storm they never saw coming. You became the calm after your own chaos. You became the person who didn't just talk about change, you lived it. So go ahead, shock them. Shock them with your rise, with your peace, with your power. Shock them with what you become, not what you say. And when the world finally stops talking, when they're forced to listen to the silence you built with your success, they'll realize what you knew all along, that words fade, but transformation echoes forever. So keep going, keep growing, keep building in silence, because one day soon, the noise won't matter. Only the result will. And that result, that's you. The version they said would never exist. The proof that pain wasn't the ending. It was the beginning. Shock them with what you become, because in the end, the loudest sound you'll ever make is the sound of your silence turning into victory. You thought the story ended when you rose, didn't you? You thought the comeback was the finish line, the proof, the victory, the closure. But here's the thing, most people never tell you. Becoming isn't a one-time event. It's a process, a brutal, beautiful, never-ending evolution. See, the moment you rise, the world tests you again. It whispers, was that just luck? Or are you really built for this? And that's where the real battle begins. Not against them, but against the version of you that thinks the fight is over. You shocked them once with your comeback. Now it's time to shock them with your consistency. Because anyone can rise once. Anyone can glow up for a moment, make a noise, have their little spark. But not everyone can stay on fire. Not everyone can wake up every day and choose to keep becoming, even when no one's watching anymore. The applause fades. The validation disappears. The crowd moves on to the next story. And that's when you find out who you really are. You think greatness is born in the spotlight. No, greatness is built in the silence that follows it. When the world stops clapping, that's when the real work begins. So don't chase attention, chase evolution. Shock them not just once, but over and over again until your growth becomes impossible to ignore. Because they'll expect you to slow down now. They'll expect comfort to soften you, success to tame you. They'll expect you to settle, to bask in the moment, to finally take it easy. Prove them wrong again. Show them that your rise wasn't luck. It was legacy in motion. And let me tell you something about legacy. It isn't about fame or followers. It's about becoming the kind of person who can't be shaken by either failure or praise. Most people fall when they get what they wanted because they forget who they had to be to get it. Don't forget. Stay hungry, stay humble, stay becoming. The same silence that built you once will build you again. It's your sanctuary, not your punishment. Because silence is where you hear your purpose whisper. And if you listen close enough, it'll tell you you're not done yet. See, the version of you that survived, that one was built out of pain, out of necessity. But the version you're becoming now, that one is built out of choice, out of vision, out of purpose.
They laughed, didn't they? Mocked you right to your face, whispered behind your back, turned your pain into their entertainment. They thought it was funny watching you fall, watching you stumble, watching you break. But here's what they didn't know. God was watching too. Oh yeah, he saw every smirk, every insult, every fake smile they threw your way. They thought it was all a game, but God was taking notes. They mocked you in public, but he's about to honor you in front of those same people. See, they thought you were finished. They thought you were done. They thought the world would forget your name. But the same stage they used to embarrass you, God is about to use to elevate you. Because humiliation, it's never the end of the story. It's just the setup for honor. And the louder they laughed, the higher God planned to lift you. You felt small, didn't you? You felt like everyone was watching and no one cared. You cried yourself to sleep, wondering how people could be so cruel, how people you trusted could turn so cold. But what you didn't see was that heaven was listening the whole time. Every tear, every word you swallowed, every time you bit your tongue instead of striking back, God saw that. And he said, "Don't worry, child. I've got this." They thought silence meant weakness. They thought your calm was defeat. But they don't understand divine timing. See, when God stays quiet, it's not because he's ignoring you. It's because he's preparing something bigger, and what's coming next will silence every mouth that ever mocked you. They laughed when you were down. They called you crazy for dreaming. They said you'd never make it, never heal, never recover. But you kept moving, didn't you? Slowly, quietly, faithfully. You kept showing up even when no one clapped for you. You kept believing even when it hurt. And that's why God's about to do something they won't be able to ignore. Listen, when God decides to honor someone, he doesn't do it in secret. He does it loud, public, undeniable, because the same crowd that mocked you has to witness your rise. That's how he works. They put your name in their mouth for the wrong reasons, but God's about to put your name in rooms you've never been in. They laughed at you for falling, but they'll have to clap when he makes you stand. They whispered about your failure, but they'll have to watch your victory go viral. You see, God's not just in the business of restoration. He's in the business of demonstration. He doesn't just fix what's broken. He makes it beautiful in a way that leaves people speechless. And when he does, you won't need revenge. You won't need payback. Your success will speak for itself. They mocked you in public, but your blessing will be public too. That's the kind of God we're talking about. They'll pretend they don't see it. They'll act like it doesn't bother them. But trust me, it will, because deep down they'll know. They'll remember how they laughed. They'll remember how they made you feel small, and they'll have to face the truth that they mocked someone God was molding. And when God decides it's time, he won't ask their permission. He won't check if they're ready to see it. He'll just do it right in front of them. You see, public shame hits deep, but public honor heals even deeper. You thought you lost your dignity, but you're about to regain it in ways you can't imagine. The same people who looked down on you will have to look up to you. The same ones who called you a failure will have to call you blessed. And it won't even be about pride. It'll be about proof. Proof that God never forgets the ones who were mocked for being faithful. Proof that grace always has the last word. They thought they were laughing at weakness, but they were laughing at someone chosen. They mocked the process, but they didn't understand the promise. They saw the dirt, but they couldn't see the seed. And now that seed is about to break through the ground. loud right in front of them you've been quiet long enough, you've cried long enough, you've waited long enough, and now heaven is shifting the story. God's saying, it's time. You thought you were buried, but you are being planted. And when you rise, you'll rise in full bloom, and no one will be able to deny it. They laughed at your pain, but God's about to make them witnesses to your purpose. They mocked your wounds, but He's turning them into your weapon. They tried to embarrass you, but they only ended up promoting you. Listen carefully. The same audience that saw your fall will see your rise. The same mouths that spread rumors will spread your testimony. That's divine reversal. That's justice from heaven's courtroom. You think God forgot? No. He's just strategic. He waited until the laughter got loud so your victory would be louder. And when that moment comes, they'll act surprised. They'll say, how did it happen? And you'll smile because you'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was God's timing. They mocked you in public, but God will honor you in front of them. That's the promise, and He doesn't break promises. You know what hurts the most? It wasn't even the mockery. It was that they enjoyed it. They watched you struggle and felt nothing, but they forgot. What you do to one of God's children, you do to Him. And when you mock someone who's covered by His grace, you're mocking His hand. And trust me, He doesn't take that lightly. So don't waste your energy trying to explain yourself. Don't chase validation from people who don't value you. Just keep walking, keep trusting, keep building, because your elevation is coming and it's going to be public. The people who tried to humiliate you will have to witness your transformation. They'll see the new doors open, the new opportunities unfold, the new peace you carry, and they'll realize they didn't break you, they built you. Your pain became your power, your silence became your strength, and your patience became the proof of your faith. You see, God doesn't forget quiet hearts. He doesn't ignore the ones who choose mercy over revenge. He honors them. And when He honors you, He does it in such a way that no one can deny who did it. Your story isn't over. It's just entering the chapter called redemption. And this chapter starts with you rising, not in bitterness, but in glory. The same voices that mocked you will have to speak your name with respect. The same ones who laughed at your faith will be asking you to pray for them. And when that happens, don't gloat, don't look down, just smile, because that's how God works. He turns mockery into ministry. He turns rejection into revelation. He turns shame into spotlight. And He always vindicates His own. So let them laugh, let them gossip, let them talk, because every word they spoke against you is about to backfire into blessings. Every curse they whispered is about to be rewritten as a testimony. They mocked you in public, but God will honor you in front of them. And when that day comes, they'll realize you were never fighting alone. He was with you the whole time. So lift your head, wipe your tears. You don't need to prove anything. God's already preparing the stage. And when He brings you out, when He sets that table in the presence of your enemies, you'll understand the mockery was just the music before the miracle. They laughed because they thought it was over, but God was laughing too, because He knew it was just beginning. So let them see, let them watch, because the same crowd that mocked you will witness your rise. And when it happens, they'll know exactly who gets the glory. It won't be you. It won't be them. It'll be God, always God. They mocked you in public, but He will honor you in front of them all. And when that day comes, oh, it's not going to be quiet. It's not going to be subtle. It's going to be loud, undeniable, divine, because God doesn't restore in whispers. He restores in echoes. You remember how they laughed, how they pointed fingers, how they said you'd never get back up. He remembers too. He remembers every voice that mocked you, every smirk that broke your spirit, every room you walked into where you were the joke. He remembers, and he's not bringing you back to prove them wrong. He's bringing you back to prove himself faithful. See, this isn't about them anymore. It's about what God's about to reveal through you. He's going to show them what happens when someone refuses to quit, even when it hurts. When someone keeps praying through pain, keeps believing through betrayal, keeps walking when everyone else turned their back. They mocked you for your faith, didn't they? Called you naive for still believing, for trusting a God they couldn't see. But that same faith, the one they laughed at, is the reason you're still standing. You see, faith doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it looks like tears at 2 a.m. Sometimes it looks like holding on when your heart is breaking in half. But faith always wins in the end. Always. And that's what's coming next. A divine reversal so big that even your enemies will have to say, only God could have done that. Oh, they'll try to act calm. They'll try to pretend it doesn't bother them. But it will, because deep down, they'll know. They mocked too soon. They laughed too early. They spoke before the story was finished. You ever notice how God likes to use the same stage where you were humiliated to announce your breakthrough? That's not coincidence. That's justice. So let them talk. Let them mock. Let them doubt. Because while they're busy laughing, God's busy lifting. And when he's done, they won't just see your rise. They'll see his glory through your story.